I am soaking wet, standing on the first tee box, Sheridan Park Golf Club. Right now, I'm going to try to do the spaces while golfing. And I'm actually already having trouble hearing on my Bluetooth, so I apologize. Chris, you are a co-host, so I can't see all the time when people are trying to talk or get in, so I might need your help in between shots here.
Yeah, you got it, man. Are you playing by yourself?
I am. I'm a solo. I couldn't get anyone to join me. It's kind of wet. It's been raining all night. It's still
Well, that'll
drizzling.
make it easier.
No one's
That'll
out
make
on the
it.
course. There's probably 4 cars in the lot. I got the
Oh,
place to
nice.
myself. I don't know if this is true, but I heard this first hole at Sheridan is the toughest first hole in Western New York.
I know I know it's pretty long, right? From what I remember looking at.
It's a huge dog leg, and I don't know what they did with this tee box, but it is the tightest I've ever seen this tee box to the tree line. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit. But Chris, are you jealous you're not in London this morning?
I'm more jealous that I'm not on the golf course, if I'm being perfectly honest. But
Yeah.
London is a really nice city. They've really stepped up their cuisine over the I actually studied abroad there for a semester in college. And it was a little weak in terms of, if you wanted anything beyond pub food, bangers and mash and fish and chips and stuff like that. But that city has gotten really, you know, extremely cosmopolitan, and it's just like a huge melting pot with all kinds of different stuff going on. And it's also got some of those beautiful green spaces I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, they've got parks everywhere. They're all really well maintained. It's a really beautiful city to just like walk around and explore.
It's definitely a city I have not yet been to. I haven't done a ton of overseas traveling, but it's probably, I would say, like if you're going to start doing overseas trips, is probably like the easiest one to make the
It
transition
certainly
as an
feels the
American.
most, yeah, for sure. It feels the most familiar, I would
Yeah.
say, if you're, you know, aside from, driving, like
Right,
every
right, right.
everything's opposite. But
I,
usually, I don't think I ever even drove when I was there. Like they've got a really good transit system and cabs and
I
stuff.
have
So
also heard that that is true. I had my brother and sister-in-law actually were stationed over there somewhere for years, and we never made it over. It just the timing didn't work out, and that probably would have been the time to have like somebody there to go with.
I don't
But
know if this is still true with the rise of rideshare and everything, but it used to be that London cabbies had to take this really, really extensive test to basically memorize the city grid um, in order to be certified and get their
qualify.
license. Yeah. Um, so like you always knew that they would know where you need to go.
I was gonna say GPS might have.
Yeah, exactly. With
Or need
rideshare, like
to.
everything being kind of built in. I don't know if they still do that, but man, it was they used to be like real pros, and they might still be.
Interesting. I will say this is nothing to the people that made it a trip, wanted to experience it. I think I see a lot of people having a blast. I'm not trying to take away anything from people that enjoy this experience, but I can't lie that I low key like hate international football. It's everything about it drives me nuts. It's everything I hate about the NFL. Like I don't want to see an expansion in London. They've lucked into the fact that the Jaguars are now finally like a good team, and that there maybe is a good showcase of football happening internationally now. But I don't know, man. I kind of hate everything about it. I want people to enjoy it and have a good time and all that stuff, but low key just hate.
Are
Side
the
note, Chris, I just
are the
put my
Jaguars a
drive.
good team?
Yeah, I think they're okay. I think they're on that middle class of the NFL right now. Low
Yeah,
key,
they're all right.
I know you care. I'm 250-yard drive off the tee,
Whoa,
right in the middle of the fairway.
250. Have you
In
been
the
eating
rain.
some Wheaties or what?
Yeah, I slowed down my pace, man. That's all it is. Slow the
Yeah,
He had
pace.
one of his breakfast sandwiches this morning.
yeah. I definitely want the updates though as we go.
Oh
What's
yeah.
up, William Trout? How's it going, man?
Hello, Chris. I just wanted to real quick point. I saw a feature recently about the cabs, and they still had to do that. So I just want to chime in and say I believe that's still the case.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed when I heard that it's like it's legit. Like they take a lot of pride in it. So that's cool that they
Yeah.
still do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a little sense of tradition. Like even though you still have the GPS and things, like you still rest on your laurels and know that you got all the knowledge. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I just wanted to pipe in and say, go Bills! It's going to be a good game, regardless of the time, I think, and it's going to be the best product we've probably seen in a overseas game in a long time. I
You,
feel like as far as two teams.
you got a score prediction for us? What do you think we're gonna see?
I do think our game is in a place right now where it can travel. Like I don't worry about getting out of the schedule or getting out of our routine just because of the fact of the rhythm that we're in with running the ball and having guards that can really hold that center of the pocket, and then also with the defense playing as opportunistic as it is. I'll say it might not be as high scoring as we maybe expect, but I can see something like a 24, 16 or 17 game, kind of low scoring, but, some touchdowns up,
Okay.
scored. So, yeah.
Cool, cool. Mark, I thought you popped in and requested to speak, but maybe I just saw your blue check mark and got confused. But if you want to speak, go ahead and send a request. And anybody else who's here, I see Buffalo Bills Reddit's here, RJ, EB, a bunch of familiar faces that we see each week. It's good to see you guys again. Um, yeah, I mean, I have heard a bunch of people saying they think it's going to be kind of a closer game. I think part of that is people are kind of factoring in the travel to a certain extent and thinking like, oh well, maybe the Bills will be a little bit they won't be quite as sharp as they have been this week because of having to go, take a 6 hour flight and be in a different time zone. Um, we can kind of talk about this more as we go, but I see it a little bit differently. I feel like this is a game that the Bills are going to keep doing what they've been doing. From Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and anyone who's still on that team from 2 years ago, they want to take it to this Jaguars team. I mean, that offense wants to show that they can put up more than 6 points. All of the talk of the Jaguars, Josh Allen saying that he's the best Josh Allen after that game. You know that our Josh Allen is a guy who keeps receipts. I mean, this is a guy who, anytime he plays a team that passed on him in the draft, he's trying to put up as many points as possible. Like, the Bills are going to show up, and I think it's going to be another big win. What do you think, Aaron?
I predicted a pretty big win. I think I predicted my biggest margin of victory that I'm usually willing to predict for the Bills in this game. But I'm not going to sleep on the Jaguars just because their record doesn't look great. Their rankings through 4 weeks look somewhat pedestrian than what we were expecting, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The problem with this team is that offensive side of the ball can kind of get going at any point, and so it's a matter of time. I think it will be, like Greg and I talked about, we're not going to keep them off the board. They're going to score some points. It's just a matter of, to your point, like how good this team's playing, this Bills team, and especially in the trenches on both sides of the ball right now. That gives me the faith to think over a 4-quarter game, like maybe the Jaguars keep it tight for that first half. Maybe there is some lag from traveling for the Bills to get ready. But even if those things are the case, I think, one, the Bills have the depth to handle any type of issues that came because of travel. And even just like without that, their depth, I think, will suffocate the Jaguars' depth over a 4-quarter game. I know I keep saying it on every show I'm at, but that just feels exactly where this Bills team is at right now with a lot of these other teams that are middling, middle class NFL teams. They just don't have the depth to go the full fight with us right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you made a great point on Cover One Buffalo podcast, the matchup preview on Wednesday night. I cut it up and put it out on Twitter. Um, the Jags offensive line, it just doesn't seem like they can match up with this Bills pass rush. I mean, the Bills pass rush has been incredible over the first 4 weeks, and
Yeah.
um, Trevor Lawrence is not. He's not as adept at getting the ball out quickly as, maybe Tua or some of these other quarterbacks that, that they rely on that for their game, right? Like
You could
Trevor's
definitely confuse him into some spots where he's holding the ball scrambling where he doesn't need to. He's still got
right.
some of that in his game.
Yeah, he's looking to make the big plays downfield. There are some times where he reminds me of a little bit of like early career Josh, right? Like he's scrambling around, looking to make something happen. But yeah, I mean, between the Bills D line and like honestly, the biggest surprise of the season so far to me, and maybe it's not a huge surprise considering the additions they made, but the Bills' offensive line has been really, really good over the first 4 weeks, right? I mean, um, Josh has been able to do almost anything he wants. You saw against the
Right.
Dolphins, he had basically a perfect game.
Yes, I do think Mitch Morse pointed out rightfully that, yes, I do think the offensive line's playing better, specifically that interior offensive line, probably the best Josh has ever had so far in his career. I know Brandon Thorne wasn't big on covering Connor McGovern signing, but since and seeing the play, sees it and realizes that it was a good value signing. Obviously, Osiris Torrance coming in, and nobody's even had to talk about him yet because he's just done his job. So all those things are great. I do think after watching that Commanders Bears game last night that like we going into that game talking about that Commanders defense, the type of sack production they put up early, it makes me want like the Bears offensive line isn't very good. Their offense isn't very good. Justin Fields isn't great, but they looked like the Commanders defensive line didn't look like they were taking that game over at any point either. So I wonder, you know, Miami's got names, Vegas had names, Washington had names, but the Bills have been able to do a good job. I just don't know if they're good or if they're just kind of like an average. But average would be fine too, right, Chris?
Average would be okay. Look, Josh Allen, the defensive end, he's a good player. They certainly need to account for him, and he might make some plays. He did last time that these two teams played, but uh, like I think that the Bills O line being at least average will
Right.
probably be enough to allow the offense to do what it needs to do.
Here, hold on. I'm at the tee box here. I just finished up hole one with a 5. I stuffed my second shot
Okay.
after a perfect drive, which kind of sucked. It is pretty wet out here. I'm just getting poured on right now, and I'm walking, so that also kind of sucks. Another beaut off the tee, Chris. Holy
Nice.
cow. I don't think I've ever driven
Nice.
this hole better. Let's proceed. Stay tuned for see how I screw this hole up.
Yeah, what's with the big hitting? Have you did you get a new driver finally?
Nope. I still have the same driver. I honestly think, not that anyone maybe in the spaces cares, when I hurt my back, I slowed my swing pace way down to make sure I don't hurt my back again. And I do think that mellow pace has allowed for some more distance. I'm getting smoother, cleaner hits and not hitting on hard on the ball as much. And just trying to keep that focus because when I do start, I started out around good the other day and started swinging hard and screwed the whole thing up. So just trying to stay on pace, just like Josh Allen. Take what the
Yeah,
course gives me.
there you go. Great analogy. Oh man.
How worried are we? I've seen a lot of Bills Mafia, obviously, with the news of Groot missing this game, being out for the game, the foot injury, concerns about it. I love Groot. I think he's a really great player. I think some of the concerns for this specific game maybe are a little overstated with how good DaQuan Jones, Ed Oliver, Leonard Floyd, AJ Epinesa, like, I don't mean to say, like, all injuries are bad, right? Losing Trey's bad. Losing Groot for any amount of time isn't a good thing for this defense, but have they been, I mean, even with Vaughn coming back and maybe not playing, I still feel good about this defensive line versus that Jaguars offensive line. Like, this is the week, maybe even, Greg brought up, if Groot needs a little bit of time on IR, this is the time to do it in the schedule, right?
Yeah, we've got a fairly soft part of the schedule coming up here. Like you said, Groot's a great player. It sucks not to have him in any game,
Right.
right? I mean, he keeps getting better too. Like the ceiling, we feel like it hasn't quite. even reached his ceiling, but he's great at setting the edge. He's showing um, a lot more pass rush juice than he was in his rookie year. That keeps getting better and better. Um, but yeah, I mean the depth. To your point earlier, the depth that we've got at that position, really across the whole team. But talking about the defensive line, we should be able to kind of cover for them. I mean, look, you can't say it won't be a loss at all, right? But you've got enough guys there that you feel like you can overwhelm their line and maybe get some hits on Trevor Lawrence and keep them off pace, off schedule, and hopefully force some punts, turn some touchdown drives into field goals and stuff like that to limit their scoring.
Yeah, I keep coming back to that's right now to beat the Buffalo Bills. That's sort of what you are gonna have. You have to be able to put together against this defense, in my opinion, 4 to 5 scoring drives and not just field goal drives. You're going to have to score some touchdowns in there. And I think it's hard no matter what. But then you also have to, because you have to do that, the reason you have to put up those 4 to 5 scoring drives is because this offense, any given day against any given defense, can put together 5 touchdown drives. And so that's that's why I feel so confident in games like this against the middle class of the NFL is I just don't see a lot of teams. If the Jaguars are going to win a game like this, it's going to be that similar thing where it's like Bill's offense just can't get going, can't put the drives together. You have to win the defensive battle. And the way this offense is clicking right now, I just don't see any of these. If you're the 12th, 14th, 15th ranked defense, can you stop this team from scoring 5 scoring drives? I can't see it right now.
Cover One is excited to once again partner with the most dynamic name in fantasy football, Underdog Fantasy. If you have your one home league and that one draft each year isn't enough for you, then Underdog Fantasy is for you. All the fun of drafting your own players, but without the waivers and lineup decisions. Best ball drafts allow you to have all the fun of drafting your team, all the chances to win big with none of the week-to-week hassle. Use promo code COVER1 when signing up to make your first deposit, and Underdog will match that deposit up to $100. That's $100 in free play if you use promo code COVER1. Even better, Underdog's Best Ball Mania 3 contest is going to make 3 players millionaires. That's right, $10 million in total prizes. $2 million to first, $1 million to second, and $1 million bonus to the team with the most regular season points. 3 chances to win $1 million. Sign up now using promo code COVER1 and take your chance at $1 million today with Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah, the offense has looked amazing. I mean, again, we're having like one of those historical stretches with this offense, and um, I mean, hopefully they can keep it going. That's the thing that we kind of keep seeing crop up is like mid-season lull, right? But I mean, last year Josh had an injury, so really that's kind of it seemed like the impetus to all of that. So as long as they can stay healthy and they should keep rolling. I mean, I feel like Dorsey's play calling has been good. The offense is just executing super well.
Right.
Um, they're kind of a
Even in the
wagon,
Jets
man.
game, we all hated that game. Josh had some real bad plays he wants back, but not that you can remove those plays from the landscape of the game, but outside of those 4 or 5 wonky plays, the offense also played pretty well in that game.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
not
they
that
were
you
able
can
to
take
move the
those plays
ball. It was
away.
just that,
Right.
yeah, Josh got a little bit impatient and was forcing some throws. I think that, the first game of the year being on in prime time and being against a division rival, playing against Aaron Rodgers, like even though Rodgers got hurt, and someone said to me that Aaron Rodgers getting hurt like that, you know, and Allen being there and seeing it, like might have gotten into his head a little bit. I'm not sure how that translates to forcing the ball into double coverage and stuff like that, but um, we know that Josh looks up to Aaron. Say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, like
Can I?
he's
Can I say what
been.
I want?
You can say what you want. Yep. but he's been, multiple year MVP.
Yeah.
Um, he's, one of the top quarterbacks that in the league and historically. Like he's got that resume, and um, to see him go down on the first drive with a major injury like that, it's gotta, you're on the other side of the ball, and you see like it's got to enter your head, like, well, that it could have been me, right? Like something like that, it could happen. um so yeah, I don't know, like, again, someone just said that and I thought it was kind of interesting to think, like maybe the guy in his head a little bit for that game, but
If anything
um
got in his head, I think it was the feeling pressure against a team that was labeled this Super Bowl contender, prime time. Like, not that Josh hasn't played in these types of big games, but Eric and I will message each other before the game to see how like jacked up Josh Allen is. Because sometimes when he gets real jacked up, you can still win, you can still play good football, but he's going to have some of those plays built into the game. And my probably biggest frustration with this like past week and how people are talking about Allen, you heard a lot of people like, oh, he's towing the line between reckless and good and all this stuff, but he has not been reckless since that first game. And those games still are, this is what I said at the moment, it's like 50%, it's like 15% of the Josh Allen experience is those games. The rest of it has been what you've seen the last 3 weeks, a measured approach or going off on some games and having a near perfect game, but it's not the sugar high Josh Allen. That's the 20%. And so the idea that he borderlines all this type of reckless play consistently week in, week out is just such a false narrative.
yeah, and if anybody here wants to jump in and give a take or ask a question, just hit that request to speak button. We'd love to get you on.
Yeah.
um
I don't know
but
how much
it's
longer I'm going to be able to go. Everything in my bag is soaking wet. So I just grabbed my phone. So I don't know how much longer this is going to go on right now for me.
That's all good, man. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. Like, we can keep talking. There's not a ton more to say, right? Like, the matchup, like, I think it favors the Bills. I think it's gonna have to be something kind of fluky, right, for Jacksonville to get the better of them, to get the better of us in this one. Um, but like, to your point, if we get like chill Josh, who's like workman like Josh, who's there to take what's take what he's given. I mean, you know, he can still work off script. Like, I mean, shout out to that play that where, James Cook is out in the flat and then he releases downfield and Josh just drops that perfect bucket, right? Like, that's something that like we've been talking about it. I don't know how many times I've mentioned it in these spaces, but we finally saw it executed, right? 48-yard play. Um, so like the checkdowns, like in the flat, they're not always just checkdowns anymore. They could be all of a
Well,
sudden like 48-yard play, right? That
I
was
will
not by design at all.
that Josh Allen's statistics last year. I'm not at my computer. I don't have it on me, but that average depth of target is down from years past. And so, yeah, those big play checkdowns definitely are there. They need to keep playing that way. But what the Bills have been able to do with the literal checkdowns and be able to get some yards after catch and have Josh trust that that's still the smart play and we're going to get something out of it. Kudos to Ken Dorsey for being able to scheme up some of these guys where you can get the average depth of target down, but still put up the huge type of monster numbers and the huge amounts of explosive plays in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're anyone who's like looking at average depth of target as an indicator of success is probably thinking about it the wrong way, right? If the defense is taking away the deep throws, then your average depth of target is going to be shorter, and that's a good thing. You want Josh taking those shorter intermediate throws so as to keep the ball out of harm's way, to keep the offense moving down the field, to stay on schedule. So I think that, anybody you see tweeting that's like, oh, the Josh Allen's average depth of target is down in 2023, like, that is not a negative thing in my
Well,
mind.
no, it's clearly not a negative thing because the completion percentage is way up, right? Like those things
Right.
correlate. That was one of the big issues with the lack of efficiency from Gabe Davis, right? And like the drop, like everything's harder the further downfield you go. So drops are going to increase, efficiency is going to decrease. So you're seeing Josh Allen play at an all-time efficient level over the last 3 weeks. And I mean, some of that's going to be directly correlated with not having to push the ball down the field and taking what defenses give you and taking those checkdowns. Like Tom Brady made a living out of doing it. And it's the only way you do those, what I was talking about. Again, back to this Jaguars game, why I don't feel super threatened. I don't think they've got the quarterback that has the patience to play the kind of football you need to take those snaps, to make the 11 play drives. Like it's hard to do consistently. And I've seen Josh Allen be able to do it. And so I think he's going to be able to do it for 4 or 5 scoring drives. And I just don't think Trevor Lawrence can maintain against this defense for that many drives.
But to that point, though, I will say on the air raid hour, Steve Mathis pointed this out. The Jaguars play more single high than most of the teams in the NFL, and they played two deep shell among the least.
Right.
Even against a team like the Chiefs, right? I think they played two deep shell like like the 31st or the second least, right, that week. So this could be a game where like Josh might see some of those deep looks come open, and you might see some big throws. It's
Every
possible.
week he's gonna. I agree that will play into it. But even as like methodical as he was last week, those shots opened up and he took them. Right, like he's still when he sees he's gonna take it, and it's not reckless and it's within the offense. And that's the big thing too with this defense is I love what the Jacksonville Jaguars have been able to do on the back half of their team. They've been playing well as a full defense, but they haven't seen Stephon Diggs yet. Like that type of attention and gravity that he's going to take. Then you've got these other weapons. I just think it's the stress. This offense in particular. I know they've played Kansas City. Kansas City's got a great offense. I'm not saying, but they don't have a Stephon Diggs. Like Travis Kelce's good. He's great. He's a great tight end. It's a different type of matchup on your secondary to try to take away Diggs than it is Kelce. And I haven't seen them tested in this way. I'll be interested to see how they respond. Defense is clearly right now in the season the strength of the Jaguars team, but because of that and the matchups for the Bills, like that's just why I feel so confident. Is this is their strength, and to me, their strength doesn't match up on paper.
Do you know by any chance what Kansas City's offensive DVOA is this year?
Not off the top of my head.
I'll see if I can find it while we're talking, but I feel like it's down. Anyway, yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
Oh my God, I can't hit anything outside off the tee box, but buddy, off the tee.
I heard that, man. That sounded real clean.
Yeah, I'm just striping them down the fairway right now. I don't even know what's going on.
That's awesome.
Pouring rain and wind. So not a great afternoon.
So you drove at 250 in the rain? That's pretty impressive.
I did, and this last drive was about 230.
Okay.
Some wind. I don't know what this drive I just hit that you heard. I don't know what that was, but it was straight down the fairway here on a pretty long par 4. But my clothes are actually all the way. I got a Bill's like sort of raincoat, one of the coach's ones. It is not rain proof or waterproof. I have found that out today.
So Kansas City is ranked 8th in offensive DVOA for the season so far. Fun fact.
One game without Kelce out of a 4 game.
One team that you would not expect to be ranked above them. Do you want to guess? Or should I just tell you?
A team ranked above them?
Ranked above the Chiefs that you would not have expected coming into this year.
Houston?
Nope. That's a good guess. They're actually not. They're down at 14th.
I was going to say, but they've had some like big performance. I know Nico Collins has had some big performance.
Yeah, CJ Stroud's been looking pretty good.
Indy?
No. Indy's at 18th.
Okay. Where? Who is it?
The Arizona Cardinals have the number 6 offense until DVOA. That's wild, man.
Some of that's got to
So, I
be
mean,
some of that. I would assume it has basis of EPA, what they were actually expected to do, and that they're overperforming expectations. I would assume, because I think EPA is like the base stat that they, and then they do it adjusted by from there.
gotcha. So preseason expectations factor into, or off-season expectations factor into
There is a
the
preseason grade that, yes, where teams are, especially early in the year, that has impact on where those stats are at now. So I would expect that to probably dip down, but that is crazy that they're sitting there right now. But I'm also surprised. What did you say? KC was 8th?
their 8th. Yep.
I mean, the way I've seen watching them, I would expect that to be a little bit lower. But I mean, Mahomes is still just Mahomes, you know.
Yeah, he makes plays constantly. Like, doesn't matter if he's got to run for a first down or throw it to his fourth receiver. Like, he's just,
Yeah, hard to
the
bring
thing is,
down.
like, if you give them a Stephon Diggs level like alpha receiver like they used to have in Tyreek Hill, then all of a sudden they're a much scarier offense. But now they're kind of, I mean, they're in that top tier, or at least close to that top tier each and every week. But they're not the juggernaut
No,
that they
but
maybe
that
used to
defense
be.
has been playing a little bit better than uh, typical from them. Where's their defensive DVOA right now? It's probably actually not great.
They're middle of the pack. They're 14th.
Okay, not bad. I mean, not the Bills, but
Yeah, Bills are number 2 in defense and number 2 in offense.
yeah. I will say here, I don't know what we've got for time coming up here. Ugh.
Number 1 in overall.
For some reason, I'm getting a water warning on my phone. That's not good. So
The
I might
Bills
have.
have the Bills have the total DVOA is like number 1 by far, like
Oh,
59.1%. The 49ers are at 47.7, and then everybody else is 35 or below.
yeah. Our good friend Aaron Schatz, last week after the game, I sent him a direct message just being like, "Oh my God, this Bills DVOA is gonna just explode, right?" And he was like, "Honestly, like, I might have to run the numbers early just because this is probably historic for a 3-1 team to have such a good DVOA." And he was right. He didn't even wait till the next day and showed me and tweeted out that this is, in fact, a historical DVOA start for a 3-1 team for the Bills.
Just crazy to think about. And I mean, the Commanders, the way they lost last night probably doesn't help too much, but I guess like as you go further into the season, each individual game, obviously it matters less and less. But
Yeah.
um man, that game last night. Man, the Commanders did not look good.
No. I wish you could see this weather. I'm such an idiot for being out here today, Chris. This is so fucking stupid.
uh,
That's a shot. That is a shot. Get on the green. Yup, I'm on the green, baby.
in regulation.
No. I duffed my second shot. I have not hit a clean second shot once today.
Yeah, that's
So
where honestly that's like probably my biggest struggle right now. Like I need a new hybrid club. I
yeah.
gotta find a hybrid that I feel good with. There's like I've got a 20-year-old 5-wood that I've been using off the fairway, and I just have not been. So I've been so inconsistent. Like if I might hit it well, I might hit it 20 yards on the ground. You know.
Yeah, I've not. I've actually been super consistent with my hybrid lately. Getting the ball in there, sending them. Today has not been that way, but I think we have not had a lot of rain here in Western New York, and the ground was just sucking it up. So I'm just gonna blame it on the rain, even though it's probably not. It's probably my mechanic.
It sounds like you're doing all right. I can hear myself echoing in your Bluetooth, by the way.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry.
That's all
I
good.
don't know what to do about that. I hope other people aren't hearing it. It's not ruining anyone's listening experience this morning.
Many people ask us the best way to support us here at Cover One, and that is to sign up to become a Cover One Pass member. That contribution helps give us the access to all the data and information we use to create the content that you love.
And I think most importantly, brings you into our community of insiders. It's a great community based on Slack. I know a lot of people don't want to be on social media anymore or be in on those conversations. We bring all of it to you right in our great community of educated fans. And most importantly, you get access to our content creators.
Even better than that, everybody loves merch. You get awesome t-shirts, a cool decal, and a letter from the Cover One team signed directly to you.
All for $60. That gets you the entire season, next year's free agency and draft. $60. Click the link in the description. Cover One Insider. Become one today. So, Chris, you didn't give us a prediction on the show. What's yours? Where are you at?
I put it in the show notes. I'm going to stick
Okay.
with it. 41-16 Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a big win. I think that, like I said at the top of our space here, it's going to feel like a revenge game for Josh, for McDermott, for anyone who was on that team 2 years ago. Just like that game has stuck, um, sort of in fans' minds, like even more so for the team. You know, these guys, they keep receipts. They're gonna want to show out in this game. And I think honestly, the fact that it's in London as a home game for the Bills, and you're playing the Jaguars, where London is like home away from home. First of all, it's so annoying that it was set up that way. Like, there's no reason why we should be playing the Jaguars instead of another team where it's more of a neutral site. But I mean, I can feel that this team is going to want to put on a show.
Yeah, of course they're going to want to. I think everybody's right in that the way they looked in the last time they played this team, that's going to be posted all over locker rooms. And they're just on a mission, right? Like,
Yeah.
from that first game, that's still stewing in their blood, even though they've shown the world that's not the team they are. I think they are still on that mission to show they're the best in the world. Sorry, I'm out of breath here. I had to go run and grab my towel. Fell. I'm a mess right now, Chris.
Oh my God. Hilarious. I wish that I had been like out on the golf course too, so we could both sound like.
Oh, yes. Just sank like a 30-foot putt across this wet green.
Wow. Despite the conditions and the
Out of breath.
podcasting, sounds like you're playing pretty well.
I am a bogey. I think I got 2 bogeys. 1, 2, 3. 3 bogeys. Playing bogey golf.
Okay.
Kind of crossing the street
Nice.
here to the 4th hole. Realizing I probably needed more clothes. And maybe an umbrella. My weather app was so wrong. It was like, oh, it's going to stop raining by 9:30, 10 a.m. and be like 70 and sunny. And not so far for me.
Yeah. Whoops.
Hey, whatever, man. It's just, I'm a grinder. I'm a municipal course grinder, man. Take what I can get. There was some old guy up at the clubhouse that was debating whether or not he was going to play. And he's like, look, man, I'm retired. I can play whenever I want. I don't need this shit. And I was like, I do. The season's ending. Gotta get out.
Yeah, I noticed that you've been trying to get out as much as possible.
Well, now my back doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I was trying to take it a little easy, but if the back feels good, man, might as well be out here. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But
Hey, can we talk real quick about the Bills pulling out the hurry up offense last week? And it's giving me like 90s Bills vibes a little bit.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say K-Gun. I'll get so mad and I'll hang up.
I wasn't going to say K-Gun.
Okay. Because that's usually what happens. Anytime the Bills go in a hurry up for a minute. I think the timing made sense. And they've done that a little bit under Dayball. I remember there was a period of time where they were running like more of it, and people were like, oh, we're bringing it back. We're going to run. But I think because they were able to establish the physicality in that game, and you kind of had them on their heels, especially when they went into it, like, it's a feeling thing. Like, it's a game feel type of thing as to when to deploy it, right?
Yeah, I mean, momentum. Trying to I don't know, like put your foot down on the other team's throat, right? Like get that defense uncomfortable, make them quite like make it difficult for them to change the personnel they've got in there. So sorry, man, I'm getting a little distracted by the audio because I keep hearing myself coming back.
Sorry, we can close this out too after this if you want.
Um, whatever, dude.
You were talking about the 2-minute going into hurry up offense, when to deploy it.
Right, yeah. The nice thing about the Bills offense is they've got all of these offensive weapons and they can do so many different things with them. So, you know, whether you're in 12 or 11 and the different receiver group package that you've got out there, find the mismatch, right? And then if you have the defense on its heels, just keep forcing your advantage by hurrying into the line, making it difficult for the defense to substitute. And yeah, it was cool to see them bring that out. I mean, it wasn't a situation where they needed no, it wasn't like a 2 minute the last 2 minutes of the half situation, right? It was they were just pressing their advantage, and that was cool to see.
I agree. If you got somebody back on their heels like that, and your physicality's there, you're established it, like drive it down their throat. Like, do not let off the gas. That's, to me, it's more of a philosophy of knowing you got somebody on the ropes and kind of just sticking it to them and hitting them with jab, jab, jab. Like, keep going. Just don't let up. So yeah, I agree. I like to see it. But what do you think, Chris? You want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, we put it out there a few times for people to come in, and we got a bunch of listeners, which is awesome. But I mean, I kind of said what I wanted to say, so you know,
All right.
I guess one more chance if anybody wants to say something, but we can start to wrap up otherwise.
Yeah, I am miserable. I'm out here on the 5th hole. I actually just had another decent drive. I'll take it. But I got to enter my bogey from the last. But yeah, I'm miserable. It's wet. You can hear some feedback. That sucks for you. So I think we should just get out of here, wrap it up. Most of the fans are in London celebrating or getting ready to celebrate a long weekend here. I see Buffalo Bills Reddit popped in.
Hey, I'll give you guys one question. It's so lonely. I guess my question would be, if you were the Jacksonville Jaguars, what would you be looking to try to attack the Bills because their offense hasn't been like super potent so far through this year, and they haven't like run the ball particularly well. But from what I'm looking at, I feel like they probably want to get Travis Etienne in open space and hope that he can get some big chunk plays for them, like Brees Hall did in Week 1, and that's really like the only matchup I can think of that they might get an advantage out of. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
So how if you were the Jaguars, how would you attack the Bills defense?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
what yeah. I mean, you threw out a pretty good idea right there. I mean, if you can get ETN into space, number one, it's going to be uh, plays that the ball is getting out quickly, which I think is going to be important, especially given the pass rush and the Jaguars' offensive line being sort of mediocre at best. But yeah, uh, I mean, what do you think, Aaron? I think that you know Buffalo Bills, right? I feel weird calling you that. What's your like first name, man?
My name's Brian.
Brian. Okay. Um, yeah, Brian makes a good suggestion there. Um, the Bills defense has been so good. It's almost like, they're gonna have to play to their personnel and try to find mismatches or matchups that they can take advantage of. I don't know, you know, like, do you see anything, Aaron, off the top of your head when you're looking at this matchup that you feel like the Jaguars can exploit?
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Jaguars offensive coordinator, the one thing that I'm trying to get really right here this week is offensive line play. And in the trenches, I'm looking at this Bills team and just thinking, we can't allow them to win as often as they have been and to get Trevor Lawrence uncomfortable in the pocket. To your point, get Trevor to get the ball out quick, but get this guy some protection. No matter what you do, you got to slide guys in, same stuff that Bills have done with helping Spencer Brown out. you can't let this Bills defensive line totally wreck the game. For Trevor, you got to try to keep him clean. But then, yeah, in terms of like specific things that you're going to try to create, and again, ETN the ball in space, I would try to find ways to really attack the Bills' corners and force them to show that they can make some plays on the ball. You got Calvin Ridley. You got Christian Kirk, who I think is a much better receiver than he gets credit for. And Zay Jones has been playing really good football. Bills fans don't want to talk about. And Evan Ingram, I would, especially with Ridley, I would put some of those 50-50 balls up there and see what happens and test these young corners. Because we know Dane Jackson, he's been knocked for not being able to make a ton of plays on the ball. Christian Benford can get up and get some plays on the ball, but he's hurt right now. He's been in a red non-contact jersey. I would do some hitches. I would do some fades, and I would just go at them and try to see if we can't generate some explosives or even get some flags on some of these deep ball type stuff and try to get something. You're going to have to steal some explosive plays. And so that's what I would do is I would look downfield to Calvin Ridley and see, hey, can these average corners hold up and make plays on the ball? If I'm the Jaguars, I would assume we'll win more of those than not. And I would test it.
Yeah, the other thing that I would say is maybe test the edge with Groot not being there. Some off tackle stuff, some crack toss type stuff. I mean, the thing is, you've got Milano and Bernard who are so good in pursuit that even that they might have trouble with. I mean, and it's not like Leonard Floyd and Epinesa.
Leonard Floyd's a good run defender. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like we're gonna be deficient there, but I mean, you could test it a little bit with Groot not being there and see if you can find any space.
I just had a green in regulation 3-putt.
Okay, I had one of those on Tuesday, man. That's frustrating.
Yeah, I just it's just rain beating down my hat right now. I wish I could take a picture that would do justice of just how miserable I look.
You should take like a 10-second video or something.
Right.
Throw it up on Instagram.
But speaking of which, actually, this is a great time for us to wrap up. I am coming up on another hole here. I just finished up. I'm going to try to get all my electronics dried off and see if I can't finish out the last 4 holes of this round before it just floods.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if anyone else doesn't have anything to say, you got a show coming up this weekend for playback?
We're gonna do college football red zone Saturday night. Yeah, on playback. On the playback app, and you find Cover One and join the room. You can go to playback.tv/Cover One, but make sure you join the room so you can participate in the chat. But it's a lot of fun. We did it last week. You can bounce around to catch the best parts of the games that are on. We ended up going back and forth a lot between the Notre Dame and Duke game and LSU and Ole Miss. It's a couple of games that came down to the wire, so it was a lot of fun.
Yep. And then obviously you can catch Greg and I on the post-game show with producer Chris in the background hanging out, but that's going to be an early afternoon tea and crumpets victory post-game show, hopefully. So make sure
you guys should get those little towers like they do for afternoon tea and just like have the sandwiches and the cups of tea like while you're doing the post-game show.
Right. And we got to be quick with it because it's going to be on to the 1 o'clock games. I know fans are going to want to get on to just kind of hanging out and watching stress-free football on Red Zone this weekend. So we'll make sure you join Greg and I. And then other than that, it's just go follow Cover One. You guys know what to do. I don't have to tell everybody every single time. You know how the internet works. Whatever website you're on, search Cover One, find it, like it, follow it, do all the good stuff, show us support. We appreciate everybody. That's about it, Chris, right?
Yeah, man. I think we're good. Thanks all you guys for joining. Buffalo Bills Reddit, appreciate your comment there. Made a good point there about what the Jags might do on offense.
Appreciate you guys. All right, appreciate you guys, and go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills. See you next time.